CTV News has obtained audio from an Ottawa mosque that says it has received several threatening calls in just the last few months.
If any of my fellow Canadians are harmed because of Islam, I will kill one Muslim, no matter if they are guilty or innocent. Do you understand me?
With more, we're joined by Amir El-Gawabi from the National Council of Canadian Muslims. And Amir, when you hear audio like that and you see those numbers come out, someone who's fully immersed in the Muslim community, does that surprise you, or is it finally we have some numbers and statistics to back up what we've been saying all along?
Well, unfortunately, Stefan, it doesn't surprise us at the NCCM. We actually have an online map of hate incidents and hate crimes from across the country, and what we have been noting as we're documenting this is that there has indeed been a steady increase year over year for the past at least 4 or 5 years. And so when we see these numbers, as you say, it does certainly add more evidence to what community members are reporting. I think, though, it is very important to note that the Black community in Canada remains the #1 targeted community for hate crimes, and then the second community is the Jewish community. But what's significant in the report yesterday is that the hate crimes targeting Muslims have risen by 61%, and that is the most significant increase.
That's so shocking. Is there anything that we can peg that to? I know the agency said the relationship between the Muslim community and police were reinforced or strengthened in 2015, which is where these numbers are coming from. So is it more reporting? Is that why we've seen that? Or is there something that took place in that year that we can attribute these numbers to?
So that's a very good question, and you can't really say for sure what it is exactly. However, there's 2 things that I would point to. Number one, 2015 was a busy year, let's say, when it comes to hate crimes and hate incidents in this country, and part of what we were seeing was a trend upwards during the federal election campaign. What we saw was when there was political rhetoric talking about Muslims in a very negative way. As you recall, the face veil was almost center stage almost throughout the entire election, quite puzzlingly. We also heard about Barbaric Cultural Practices Act, and all sorts of rhetoric that was very much marginalizing the community. We actually started to see that jump in hate incidents and hate crimes. And the Ottawa Police Service, in fact, did something very important. They actually reached out to the community and said, we're worried about this. We need you to be reporting what's going on. And that sent a very important message to the community that they are being heard by the police services. And in fact, since then, the Ottawa Police Service has become the first one in the country to provide an online way for people to report hate crimes, and that is not happening anywhere else. So removing barriers to reporting is important. Now, going back to the point of, does that mean that we're going to see more numbers? Of course it will. We actually launched a campaign with partners from across other diverse communities saying Canadians need to be reporting what's happening to them. 2/3 of hate crimes go unreported, according to StatsCan. So that means that people, for whatever reasons, maybe they are feeling a bit shy, humiliated, don't want to re-victimize themselves, maybe don't have the trust with the police services, they may not want to come forward, but it is so critical that they do, because what we need to understand is how serious is this problem, and as a society, as governments, how are we going to respond to it?
Looking at the broader population, do you feel as though Canadians are receptive to this reality? I know we like to think of ourselves as a tolerant nation, better than our neighbors to the south of us. Are they in denial about what's actually happening when it comes to hate crimes?
I think what's happening is that there is this very small minority of people out there who do hold racist views and who are ignorant about, different cultures, different people. And so what is happening is that this minority has become almost given a license to sort of act out on this hatred. There's more anti-Muslim rallies that are being held across the country. There was one here in Ottawa just a week ago. And so there's almost this new license. Even online hate has gone up by 600% over 2015 to 2016. So there's this sort of growth, also right-wing extremism, white supremacy that we're seeing. Generally, Canadians, of course, do not hold those views. And in fact, after the Quebec City mosque shooting, where 6 Quebec Muslim men were shot dead, Canadians by the thousands came out at vigils, at rallies here at the mosque on Scott Street. People were holding hands in solidarity all around the mosque as a sort of a chain of peace to show that, as Canadians, we stand shoulder to shoulder. And I believe that is definitely the majority of Canadians. But what this report really emphasizes is that we cannot take this for granted, that we do live in one of the safest, if not the safest countries in the world, a country that does pride itself itself on its pluralism and its diversity, but there are those small and unfortunately growing forces that are trying to sort of seek to divide us, and we just can't let that happen.
And with that reminder, I think we'll end there, Amira. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it.